So thank you guys so much for coming in. This is the No Manual Just Love podcast. I know things look a little bit different today. Sky is not here. It is just me by myself today, but we have our very first guest, someone super amazing. And this is actually Sky's friend that she's giving me some information about. So I'm really excited to share some information about our guest today with you guys. I think she's going to have some really good insight. And so, who we have is Danielle Hewett. Hi, Danielle.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah. And so, just a little bit about yourself. And what I know is that you're a dentist, you're a mom, and you do have a child who is on the spectrum, right?
I do.
Okay. And so, you're based out of Durham. And what is the name of is it your practice or is it just a dentist that you are a part of?
I am an associate. I'm not the owner, so I work along with the owner. But I work part-time and she works part-time, and this is at McDuffie Dentistry and Dr. McDuffie. It's right off Fayetteville Road near the mall. She's the owner,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
we tag team it.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself and your family.
We are a multicultural household. My husband is from Pakistan, and we've been married 10 years. He works in IT from home. That has been a huge help with Zane. Zane is our son. He's 7, and he is on the spectrum. He's level 3, mostly nonverbal. He can say some stuff. We've lived in the Triangle for about 10 years. Originally from the coast of North Carolina.
Oh,
We have a pet rabbit.
that's cute.
Yeah. And I've been a dentist for about 4 years.
Okay. And so you said that you're originally from the coast. Where in the coast of North Carolina?
I'm from a town called Hampstead, which is in Pender County, near is it right
Okay.
between Topsail Island and Wilmington.
Okay. I'm familiar with, of course, Wilmington and Topsail Island. We usually go to, or we used to try to go once a year to Bald Head Beach or Bald Head Island.
Yes.
Yeah, so I love that place. Like whenever we go, it doesn't even feel like we're here in North Carolina.
I
So
know, you're like, it's so pretty. But when you live there, when you're from there, you're just like, I hate all the tourists.
I can understand that,
You don't go to the
especially
beach when
like,
you live there in the
yeah,
summertime. You go when everyone
yeah,
leaves.
I get it because Riceville Beach over the years have gotten really packed. It
It's
used
so
to be like
bad.
a hidden gem. Oh my goodness. The
And
last time I went, we couldn't even find parking.
nothing. And you have to pay to park. And yeah. And all the
A
college
mess.
kids was like, even that went to UNCW, Topsail Island, like Surf City was always like where I went to the beach.
Hmm.
Um, but I didn't start out in dentistry. I started out in I used to work in corporate finance, and I worked there. I worked because I studied business in college, and I didn't like that. I worked in that
Okay.
for about 2 years. So I went to dental school later. I went in when I was 28.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah. So that's like a whole other conversation because going back to school like a little bit later in life, like it could be difficult, especially if you've already started working and things like
Yes,
that. So
it was
I would
very
love
tough.
to, yeah, we gotta do another interview because I want to know more
Sure.
about that process.
Okay.
And so now I do want to talk a little bit more about you and your son Zane.
Yeah.
So when did you first receive your autism diagnosis for Zane?
Zane was about 2.5. And
Okay.
I mean, I knew since he was probably a year old that cognitively something was a little off. My friends had kids, they had babies, and the physical milestones he hit, the rolling over, the walking, the crawling, the sitting up, all on cue. Got his first tooth, no problem. But then when they started speaking and babbling and copying, like mama, dada, mama, baba, Zane would never repeat what we would say.
Hmm.
And then he always had sleep problems, always had night terrors, um, just wake up multiple times at night, couldn't self-soothe back to sleep, started walking on his toes. So a few things started adding up where I'm just like, I think we need to say something to the doctor. So we went to his pediatrician, and I think maybe this has changed now that autism has like a 1 in 33, or maybe it's different than what I know ratio. But
Hmm.
she was like, well, we'll try speech therapy. Let's try occupational therapy. Because I don't think they wanted to jump the gun and say, well, it could be autism, which I wish they would have.
Yeah.
So we tried that. And then, I mean, the behaviors just increased. Like, he used to bang his head on the wall, bang his head on the glass door and the window. And I'm just like, I need to see a psychiatrist because we need help.
Right.
Finally, I had to be a little ill towards her, and I was like, I need to see somebody now. And she relented, and she was like, yeah, I'll give you a referral. And then we got his diagnosis. And then we started receiving early intervention services from the county because we lived in Wake County at that time. And then ABA,
Hmm.
but ABA was not, it was not the right time for ABA. Tantrums increase. I was going away at dental.
Really?
I had 12-hour days. My husband is alone trying to do this, so we're like, let's just leave it for
So
now.
I know, Guy, she's mentioned her experience with ABA, and she didn't have such a great experience either. And so for you, it was more so just like you said, like the tantrums and things like that were increasing. Do you think it was
Yeah.
because of one specific thing with ABA or?
No, well, I just don't think he had no means of communication, and I didn't really understand what was going on in his little brain because as you learn about autism and being on the spectrum, especially, there's so many sensory inputs that
Mhm.
our brain can filter out, but their brain necessarily can't. So, he would cover his ears when he would see a dog or the fire things. But was it the air conditioning? Was it like smell? Was it the feel of the carpet? I didn't really take those things into consideration because my mind, number one, I didn't really know all the things that I know now. And number two, I had a lot of other things going on. I was at dental school. I was away 12 hours a day. My mental health wasn't really so great. Had no
Mhm.
sleep. He wasn't sleeping. He's always been a picky eater, so eating was an issue. So just a lot of things were going on, and it was like adding fuel to the fire. So we're like, let's just take a step back. But he's been in ABA. I think it's about the right fit, and once you found the right fit, it just with anything, with doctor, anything in your life, find the right fit, and it can be golden. Because right,
Exactly.
we have a great therapist, we have a great BCBA, and they're just like, as long as Zane is happy and engaged and thriving, that's our goal. I'm like, yes, done. So he's been ABA for
Okay.
like the last year and a half, 2 years now.
Okay. Okay. So things did turn around. It's just that
Yeah,
initially
I,
it was
I
a no-go.
it was just like a timing thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that, things did turn around with it. Is it something that you would recommend to other parents try, or do you think that it's something that other parents should kind of wait to see? What do you think?
I definitely think other parents should try, but if something doesn't feel right, speak up and
Okay.
know that in ABA the the requirements needed to be a behavior technician are very low, so you're going to might get someone with no experience, and it's okay to speak up and ask for someone for experience, or just that they push a lot of things on you, and so you have to have a backbone and just be like, no, I don't want them to go 40 hours, or you have to have a say for your kid because they're not going to have a say,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to
Yeah.
just do what's right for your family.
I love that. That's true. You definitely have to be the spokesperson and the advocate for your kids because your kids really, especially when you have children who are nonverbal, they
Yeah.
can't even express how they feel when things aren't feeling right for themselves. So you really got to be in tune
Right.
with that so that you could speak up. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
now as a dentist, which is a very demanding job, how are you balancing your demanding career as well as being a special needs mom?
so since I had Zane in dental school, I had him at the end of my first year, which was really tough. Not and only one other girl in my class had a baby, so we were only
Mm-hmm.
two in the whole class of 53. Um, I've and once I graduated dental school, I was like, I'm just gonna work part time to give him some of my time that I missed when I was away so much. for his childhood. So I've only worked part-time. I only work 2 days a week. Um,
Okay.
but now as he's getting older, he's getting more independent. He's going to go to school in August. I'm looking to kind of increase my time, maybe add another day. Eventually, I want to own a practice. That's my ultimate goal. So maybe
Ooh.
that's going to be on the horizon.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about the announcement. I'm sure that's something you'll be able to make happen. But okay, so what I'm hearing is that even though your career per se is demanding, you've been able to, change your schedule around so that it kind of fits your son's needs and your son's schedule so that you can gain some time back with him that you missed throughout school.
Right. And the good thing about dentistry is that it's so geared towards you as a dentist. I mean, and dental hygiene too, whereas like I don't there's we can do this thing called temping where we don't have to necessarily even belong to an office. I could just fill in at different offices. If I wanted to work 5 days a week, 1 day a week, just when dentists are out, I could just fill in
Hmm.
with them at their office. So I've done that before, and that's really nice. You don't have a set schedule. You just pick up a day here and there whenever you want to. So I know some people that do that, but I have a great work schedule. I work 9 to 4. I work close by. Um, but I have a nanny that helps here at home with my husband to take care of Zane. So we've just like gotten this groove.
Uh, and so I have a few nurse friends who have a similar schedule that are also moms, but I think they call it PRN nursing or something where they're able to kind of pick up hours and
Uh-huh.
they don't have to be tied down to a specific
Right.
practice or hospital. So I like that. I think healthcare might be the way to go.
It
I
is
like the flexibility.
it's very stressful. It is
Yeah.
stressful. Dentistry is I always tell my patients like every dentist is a little OCD because people put a lot of high demands on you and you have to be perfect.
Hmm.
Your work has to be perfect every single time. There's just a lot of stress in the job that people don't think about, and especially being a business owner. Oh my goodness. Like I'm
That's
just
a whole other
that's
layer.
a whole another level. I just go to work, close the door, and go home. I'm
Hmm.
not worried about the finances. I'm not worried about who's getting paid that day. I'm not worried about who didn't show up that day.
Hmm.
So once that changes, I think the stress level is going to go a lot higher as I'm learning
Yeah.
how to do that.
Yeah. Do you think that you're going to kind of step back from actually practicing once you do open up your own practice, or do you still want to be in the field?
Oh no, I'm gonna be working like full time. I'll be the full time,
Okay.
and then I think
Okay.
eventually, I mean, this is the kind of trend where you work your in your prime years because dentistry is very hard on your body. So after so many years, your back hurts, your neck hurts, your wrists hurt. It's just the nature of the job. So I mean, you're just tired. You want to help. If you've been
Hmm.
for 25, 30 years, you want to kind of slow down and bring on someone else to help you. And that's just kind
Yeah.
of the natural flow of things.
Okay. Well, yeah, I can see that. And that, you know what, as a patient, because I'm of course not a dentist, I never thought about like the wear and tear of the actual dentist and how
Oh,
things have to be perfect. You kind
yeah.
of just show up and open up your mouth.
Yeah. For the cleanings and stuff, it's not so tough, but like people have really high expectations of you. This is their
Hmm.
money. And so I mean, we learn how to do that in school and with practice and stuff, but it's still
Yeah,
a lot of expectation from you.
I get it. Okay, so back to, of course, autism, right? So, has being a mom of a child with autism, has that changed how you interact with your patients that are neurodivergent, or has it made you more sensitive or hyper aware
I'm
of
definitely
their needs?
because I think we moms and I always read stuff about this. It's like we're hyper vigilant because when we go somewhere, because we've attuned ourselves, especially the kiddos that are nonverbal. Like Zane communicates with me through nonverbal means. So I'm looking at people's every little tell. Like, are their eyebrows furrowed? Like, do they
Mm.
seem nervous? How are they talking quiet? Are they not talking at all? Like their tone, what's their tone? Um, So those things, I'm like, are you okay? Do you can take a break? So it makes me a little bit more hyper focused on people in terms
Hmm.
of their well-being. I had a patient the other day and I could tell she was bothered by the noise of the drill. And I'm like, do you want to take a break? Is this bothering you? She's like, yes. I was like, well, let's play music. Um, so I would say that I've been conditioned to like read nonverbal communication in people.
Yeah. So it's kind of created like a layer of what I would like to call like a superpower for you to be
For
able to
sure.
pick up on things with your patients because of your experience with your son.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so my son, he is autistic and he is verbal, but recently we went through a gorilla group through the Teach program. It's a program through UNC.
Hmm.
And we were there for a few weeks. We met once a week and we did like a small group with the children by themselves. The parents had a group by themselves, and then we all would come together. There was one parent there who mentioned he was having a really hard time with his child wanting to like brush his teeth and things like that. And so he was really struggling and needing some answers or, some assistance and guidance to kind of hone in on like you have to still take care of your teeth or, even though you do have these other things going on. So what are some things that you can suggest for parents who have children that are autistic that can kind of help them with their dental care? I know that was like a loaded question.
Think it depends on the age of the child too. Because from Zane, and I knew like going to school, and of course I would have known this, I had to start him very young. So I started even when his first tooth, I took my finger or took a cloth and I would rub the toothpaste on it. And it's okay for them to swallow a rice grain amount of toothpaste because the benefit of the fluoride outweighs the risk of fluorosis, which is people say, oh, isn't ingesting fluoride bad? Fluoride is a naturally occurring ion, a naturally occurring mineral in our environment. So getting fluorosis is very, very rare, and that's you have to ingest quite a lot. But uh, the benefit of them getting the fluoride from the toothpaste, because that's their only cavity fighting substance that's going to go for them. So, rub it on there. And another thing you need to think about that people don't like, oh, they take their kids to the dentist 3, 4. By 3 and 4, it's too late. You need
Yeah.
taking your kid to the dentist is what, and this is a little bit early. I took Zane when he was 18 months old, but by their first tooth or by the time they're 12 months old, whichever comes earlier, that is what that they tell us in school. Now, again, that's kind of young. Um,
Hmm.
like I said, I took Zane when he was 18 months old and get them acclimated because I think kids with autism, I would have to show him pictures. Like we would watch Cocomelon. There's so many songs and like brush your teeth that make it fun. Get a vibrating toothbrush. But for Zane, he hated being touched on his face, on his mouth. He had such a high orofacial aversion. Um,
Hmm.
I had to force him, and I had to get on top of him, and it was rough, and I hated it.
Yeah.
Comfortable for him. He would pitch a fit, but I knew over time it got easier, which it did. Then he knew what we were doing, and he swallowed it. He did. He drank water right after, and he is totally fine to this day. Because kids don't really learn how to spit until they're 4.
Hmm.
So just start with that. Like I said, make it fun. Um, they make these little vibrating things. I don't really recommend those. Those don't work
Oh,
super
like the
well.
hum and stuff.
Yeah, it's like this little plate thing you stick in there because it's not really getting
Yeah.
out. Now, flossing is a whole another thing.
Woo.
I get in like 2 teeth a night, okay? Just don't beat yourself up. That's the thing is like as long as you're trying, even if you do like half the mouth in the morning and half at night, and just something, just compromise. And I think kids with autism need like maybe pictures, like a picture schedule. First, we're gonna like the bedtime routine. I think the routine, keeping them in that routine. If you just keep it
Hmm.
consistent, they know what to expect.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I know that with my son, we started really young. He's my first, and I think we just did the same thing with my daughter, but I know that he started going to the dentist at 12 months as well. I believe it was because it was recommended by his pediatrician. I
oh,
don't
great.
think I had any idea really of like when they were supposed to go to the dentist. I know growing up, I didn't go as often as like I take my kids now. But I think that having that routine with him and starting, like you said, really young and always making sure that, okay, like, first thing you do in the morning, at night before you go to bed. So now he's 9, where thank God I do not have to remind him. That is the first thing he does. I know he's up because I hear him in the
Oh, that's great.
bathroom.
That's so
Now
good.
my daughter, on the other hand, is still a struggle. I'm like, hey, like,
Let me
let's
switch
go get
that.
these like cute little toothbrush. Like, let me get something that's super girly that kind of makes you excited about doing this. So, but now for parents who have older children who are like 7, 8, 9, who are just like they don't like the feel of it, are there maybe like any toothbrushes out there or things that they could do to work around that?
I mean, his like the therapist doesn't even seem to have recommended like a vibrating toothbrush, or there's some that have like heads all the way around. I think it's for like dentures, but um, that's another option. But I mean, I think motivation too is key, and you
Mhm.
modeling it. If I model it with Zane, I'm like, let's do it together, and then he's gonna be like more likely to do it. Like
Okay.
I had to do it first. I'm like, look, Mama's spinning, and then he finally got onto it. So I think just seeing what their motivation is, like, hey, if you do this, you can get this, maybe extra screen time or like extra snack or something.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. So kind of like incentivize them and then also just show them by practice, like, hey, like look at me.
Yes.
You want to do it too?
Not want to go to the dentist and be having cavities because that is not fun.
Yes. And then the bill if they have cavities is not cheap whatsoever. So yeah. Okay, so now do you know if there's any other tools or sensory friendly techniques or things or actual toothbrushing things out there for children?
I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm not sure at the moment. I'm sure there
Okay.
are, but Suzanne, I don't personally know because I never had a problem with just using the little toothbrush. Um, but just like there's chewies and stuff. Like Zane has a lot of those chewies. I'll have to get back to you on that because I'm not entirely
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, I would love to share. So if you can think of any, no pressure at all. But if you can think of any, please share with us and we'll put it like in the description box or the
Okay.
comments or whatever. But so now being that you are a dentist, you mentioned that you have your husband at home as well, and you went to dental school. Do you have other support systems or like a village that has helped you throughout this process?
Um, I mean, my parents are here. They live a little bit far away. I mean, they're in Sanford and they're older. They have helped me some as much as they can, but I've just had help. Like my husband has been my biggest help. Without him,
Hmm.
we've not have, could have done it. And I've had nannies that have helped me. That have really great girls that have helped me. Um, Zane has his therapists have been amazing. We've had OT, we've had physical, we've had speech, and we do feeding therapy now. His ABA, his he has a private tutor, Miss K. Shout out to Miss K. She is amazing. I love
Oh
this.
yeah.
She is just like a auntie from heaven. You know, she loves Zane, and she treats him like her own child, and she's just so loving. Um, so they just need love, you know. But dental school was very very tough. That was the hardest 4 years of my life, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I can understand. Well, I could only
So
imagine.
hard.
I can't
It
understand.
was so hard. It was
Yeah,
just
and so
tough.
for you mentioned Miss K. For those who don't know, Miss K is a homeschool teacher that we will get a chance to interview her as well. So I'm excited about that. But just for anyone who's like, who's Miss K? Miss K is a homeschool teacher, and she travels to you, right?
She does.
Okay,
But
yeah,
sometimes we
yeah.
go into her. She's opening up a spot, which I'll let her tell you more about that. But um, she's opening up her own spot.
Okay. Yeah. So just if anyone's wondering, you'll get more information about Miss K. But back to you. So, what's some things that you've learned throughout this journey that you wish more people would know or understand about children with autism or people in general with autism? I know it's
I,
a broad range.
I think the thing that I've noticed the most, parents that don't have kids on the spectrum and don't know anyone on the spectrum, and I wish this was taught more openly in schools. Like, the kids don't know how to act around kids on the spectrum. Neurotypical kids don't really know how to play unless you have a sibling who's on the spectrum. And
Hmm.
so I wish there was more education, and knowledge for current parents, whether it be like, I don't know, a workshop from their school or a workshop from their class, because some classes have kids on the spectrum in the gen ed class. And so,
Hmm.
um, that because I feel like my friends, like some of my friends' kids would say to me, "Why doesn't Zane speak? Why doesn't he say anything?" And at that point, I'm like, because their parents haven't told them that Zane is different.
Hmm.
I mean, he learned, he has autism. And so that kind of, I don't know what to think. I didn't know what to think of that.
Yeah. I think maybe if schools, especially, well, schools all over, public, charter, private,
Yeah.
if schools could do more, like specific activities with integrating all of the kids, because like you said, there are children, like my son is in the general population with he's in
Oh,
like
wow.
the
That's
class
amazing.
with everyone, and he'll have like push-ins, and he'll also have pull-outs where he'll leave for a little bit and go with a different teacher. But I think that it would be more helpful for, it's going to start with the kids, unfortunately. I feel like the parents just, they have to do the research themselves or
Yeah.
whatever and get exposed to it. But I think that at school, if they could do more intentional things where they are including all of the children and taking the time out to say, like, okay, like this is happening because of this, and we don't judge, here's
Right.
how we can support this
Yeah.
student
And here's how
and
we
not
can
make them feel
play with them.
bad.
But this is what maybe a little bit different about them that they're sensitive to. And you gotta be mindful of this,
Hmm.
when you're playing with them, but they want to play with you just like, they're curious about you too. Um, but yeah, you're right. So does your son, especially when it comes to making friends, I think friends are such a tricky subject
Hmm.
of kids of all ages and all, neurodivergent or neurotypical. Um, I think it's really tough. Kids are, I don't know, to make friends.
Yeah. Yeah, and kids are already kind of like, they do their own thing. I will say he started out at a school, at a charter school that was a little bit smaller, and he was able to make about two or three friends that from first, well, kindergarten was at home, so he was familiar with their names, but he didn't really know them. So from first grade until third grade, he was able to make friends with them. But we moved him to a public school for better resources for his fourth grade year, and he had a really difficult time with making friends. But his teacher, we were very blessed and lucky to get the teacher that we had, because she saw so much of my son in her, and she experienced some of the same things in school and stuff like that. And so she really worked with us and him to, play with the other kids, and made him really feel inclusive with the other students in the class. So I'm grateful for that.
Love that.
So if we had more teachers like her,
That's
I
the thing
think things would
here
be
too.
a
Yeah,
lot better.
sure. Like the
Yeah,
experience, and that comes from experience.
yeah,
The schools are struggling for anybody really. For
yeah.
big issue.
Yeah, I agree. So, before you go, I do want to be respectful of your time, but I do want to kind of lighten the mood up a little bit and do something really fun. So we're gonna do what's called like a lightning round, where I'm just gonna ask you some questions. It's just like four questions, but I want you to really quick just choose the one that fits best for you. And then I want to ask you a question about your son, and so I'll do that at the end.
Okay.
But are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
Okay, so coffee or tea to survive a hectic
Coffee.
morning?
Coffee.
Coffee. All right. Tea is not strong enough.
Nope.
All right, so Crest or Colgate?
Sensodyne.
Oh, okay, good
But
one.
both Crest or Colgate are same. I mean, they're both good.
Okay.
But I
Um,
personally use Sensodyne.
okay, got it. And so act or Listerine?
Maybe act.
Act. Okay. Are you a mouthwash
Not really. I don't think
person? Okay.
gosh.
Okay. And last one. So electric toothbrush or manual toothbrush?
Electric. Electric. Removes like
Do you have a
50%.
particular brand? Really?
Um, I think the spinning rotation of Oral-B, I read some research about this. That is the best plaque removing, like the dentif. It's called a dentifrice. Um, the one that the rotating, oscillating
Yeah,
rotating.
like the
That's
little
the best.
circle.
Yes, Oral-B.
Okay. All right. I need to get online and order that one. All right. So that was the lightning round. So just like a quick little fun
That
game
is
that
fun.
we wanted to start. But I do want to ask you one more question before you go. I do want to know if your child could describe you, what is it that you would hope that they say as a mom?
Um, Playful and caring and attuned to his needs. I hope he would say that. But I hope he would say that I push him to grow
Hmm.
and um because that to me is the most important thing that I've been trying to do to Zane, like realizing he can do stuff and not be
Hmm.
dependent on me. Like he can, like this today, he can put your socks on and not just swooping in to do it for him, but helping him see that he's independent himself.
Okay. Oh, that was beautiful. I like that.
Thank you.
I am so grateful for you, Danielle. Thank you so much for sharing your story today
You're
with me
welcome.
and joining me. It was really nice getting to know you. I hope that you could come and join us again and we could kind of
Yeah,
dig a little bit deeper. I
for
would love
sure. I'd
that.
love to do a second episode. Let me know.
Yes, yes. So I hope you have a wonderful day and thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you, Jasmine. We'll talk later.
All
Thank
right,
you.
you guys, I am so grateful for Danielle for sharing her story with us today. And so, if this episode resonated with you, make sure that you subscribe, make sure you leave a review, and you share this conversation with someone else who needs it. Maybe there's someone out there who is struggling with their child's dental care, or even if you're in the Durham area and you're looking for dental services, make sure you check out Danielle at the McDuffie Dentistry in Durham. I'll make sure to share the information in the description box. So just make sure you check that out. And if you would like to share your own story with us and you want to connect with us and get interviewed on the podcast, we would love to have you and we would love to hear your story. So email us at nmjlpodcast@gmail.com. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram at nmjlpodcast. All right, you guys, I will see you later.